wedding photographers secretly delete all the photos where I looked better than my maid of honor. I swear this still makes my blood boil. I was going through my wedding photos 2 weeks after my big day, and something felt really off. In every single group shot, I looked weird, like not terrible, but just off somehow. Meanwhile, my maid of honor Rachel looked absolutely perfect in every single frame. At first, I thought maybe I was just being paranoid, but then I noticed something that made my stomach drop. In the background of one photo, you could see my phone reflecting the real moment, and I looked completely different than what the photographer captured. I was smiling naturally and looked radiant, but in his version of that exact same second, I somehow looked awkward with my eyes half closed. That's when I started digging deeper. I remembered feeling so confident during the photo session. The photographer kept taking shot after shot, saying things like, "Let's get a few more just to be safe," and "The lighting is tricky today." I thought he was just being thorough, but now I was seeing the pattern. I called my cousin Emma, who was also a bridesmaid, and asked if she had any photos from that day on her phone. She sent me a bunch of candid shots she took while we were getting ready and during the ceremony. I looked gorgeous in every single one of them. My makeup was flawless, my dress fit perfectly, and I was glowing with happiness. So why did I look so different in the professional photos? The next day, I drove to the photographer's studio. I told him I wanted to see the raw files because I was thinking about ordering more prints. He got really nervous and started making excuses about how the files were stored on a different system and he'd have to dig them up later, but I pushed harder and said I could wait. Finally, he pulled up the folder on his computer, and that's when I saw everything. There were literally dozens of photos of each moment. In some, I looked amazing, and in others, Rachel looked amazing, but never both at the same time. But here's the crazy part. He had systematically chosen the worst photos of me and the best photos of Rachel for the final album. I confronted him right there. At first, he tried to deny it, saying he just picked the ones with the best lighting. But when I pointed out specific photos where I clearly looked better and asked why those weren't included, he broke down and admitted the truth. Rachel had hired him separately for her own engagement photos 6 months earlier. During that session, she started talking about how she should have been the one getting married first, and how she'd been in love with my husband since college. She offered him an extra $800 to make sure I didn't outshine her in any of the wedding photos. My hands were literally shaking as he showed me the text messages between them. She had sent him specific instructions like, make sure her eyes are closed or she's looking away in the group shots, and if you have to choose between a good photo of her or me, always pick me. She even sent him examples of unflattering angles to watch out for. The worst part was reading her message from the morning of my wedding. Today's the day. Remember our deal. I've waited 3 years for Tom to realize she's not right for him. These photos need to tell the story. I was so angry I could barely speak. I demanded he give me all the good photos of me immediately, and I threatened to leave reviews everywhere about what he did. He quickly burned everything onto a flash drive and promised to redo my entire wedding album for free. But I wasn't done with Rachel. I had screenshot all her messages to the photographer. That weekend, I invited her over for brunch, saying I wanted to thank her for being such an amazing maid of honor. I had printed out her worst messages and left them on my coffee table like magazines. When she walked in and saw them, her face went completely white. She tried to laugh it off at first, saying it was just a misunderstanding, but I cut her off and told her I knew everything. She finally broke down crying and admitted she'd been jealous of my relationship with Tom since we started dating.